again, Broncos country.
Really excited to chop up some Broncos with you all this week.
Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
Chargers or Chiefs, so grab your brews in your fantasy league. We got that blue and orange blood that you bleed, the most loyal fans there ever could be. We are that mile high Broncos country.
Orange Weekly, fans, brews, and Broncos news. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Orange Weekly's Bourbon, Broncos, no BS, where things are great here. Things are fantastic. I love the Broncos so much. Guys, I'm so sad and dead inside.
Kevin, bring the energy.
It's
all
fake.
What we talked about in our coaching session this week, Kevin.
It's all fake.
Oh.
We got John, we got David, and Jared may or may not be dead. I don't know yet. There he is.
It's great to see you all.
For a second,
I slid into the darkness, but I'm still cheery with the shirt.
I think you're the most beautiful Christmas tree I've ever seen.
Something.
And the man crush continues.
Yeah, it's a look.
It is a look. It is a look.
Gotta bring the cheer up, right? That's what the whole plan is here.
Monticello, we were absolutely as shocked as you were, if not more so.
Welcome, everybody, to, again, Bourbon, Broncos, no BS. Grab that drink, kick back, relax. Of course, drink responsibly, but I know I'm going to need some alcohol tonight to talk about everything that's been going on. Of course, the Broncos lost to really themselves. This is what happened. The Broncos beat the Broncos,
but it was a good game against themselves.
They played. Yeah, it was a close game against themselves.
They played well
for a minute. It did
Chiefs
look
came
like,
in also and scored some points.
It did look like they were going to pull it out against themselves for a couple of times, but then,
there was a couple times I was like, man, they really might beat themselves. This is great.
Right.
Could be a thing. But
somehow
no.
Kansas City slid in there and we're like kind of on the field. It was really just the Broncos playing the Broncos though, and we lost.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we the losers.
So we'll talk about it, but of course, everyone, please hit that share button, hit that like button, post your comments, post your questions, because that is exactly what we're here for. We're here to interact with you all, and there are some good takeaways from this game that we're going to talk about. Williams being one of probably the bigger ones, but there's obviously a lot of bad, and we'll talk about that. I'm sure there's a lot of frustration out there. So let's start with this, guys. Let's start with something good. Let's start with the good before we just go down the bad path. Let's talk about Williams. Holy hell. What a beast. I mean, were you guys expecting anything different?
No, I think everybody in Broncos country knew, right?
Yeah, I brought it up in the pregame, and I think I brought it up on the pregame show to the actual game that night. The biggest part about that is, were we going to use him? The two options were we were going to use him in a split back, or we were going to use him like Carolina uses Christian McCaffrey, and that's exactly what we did. We used him in the passing game, we used him in the run game, we just gave him the ball, put him in space, and man, talk about, and not just him. I mean, I love Javonte Williams, but talk about our rookie class this year. I cannot overstate how amazing all of them. I mean, we have 5 or 6 rookies from this class starting. It's an absolutely unreal amount, and they're just absolutely. Could you see Miners with the huge block downfield? And then Pat Surtain with the 2 picks the week before. Like our rookie class, Jonathan Cooper, Baron Browning, all those guys, like all these guys are playing so well. It's amazing.
Yeah, 4 starters on defense from the rookie class. It's been a great rookie class. Not surprised that Javonte Williams went off. For once, I was happy that my expectation was exceeded by the Broncos, by one Bronco player at least. Which, not surprised, but man, it was good to see him just ball out on Sunday.
Definitely.
The unfortunate part about the whole thing, while we talk about how great he is just the fact that he got so many yards. I mean, what was he broke some sort of record of having like the most receiving and rushing yards in a game and still not win. Yeah. But freaking Mac Jones can throw 2 completions and win a game in New England. Like, what the hell is going on with the NFL right now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mac Jones did have a higher completion percentage than Bridgewater, so
2 for 3.
I feel like there's a coaching advantage when talking about Mac Jones's team versus Teddy Bridgewater's team too. I feel like there's a stark coaching advantage there.
Maybe. I mean, when New England's running the ball on 3rd and 18, like it's like you really just don't want the guy to throw the ball.
Nope, not at all. I mean, those wins were hellacious, but still,
it's
very obvious.
That was a big part of it.
And now I do want to say this. I think we found a revelation. You know, Fangio was given a press conference, and he said something that absolutely blew my mind. And I think this is what we've been missing the whole time, guys. I'm absolutely stunned. I didn't think about it at all when he said, we have to find a way to score more points. And when he said that, I was like, oh, that's why we're not winning. We're not scoring enough points.
That is
awesome. Thanks, dude. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. But now that we know that, I think it's going to be a different team for the next time.
I don't know. Maybe that they weren't thinking that way, you know. I got nothing, guys.
I got nothing. It's sad. It's sad. But luckily, David has taught us to just go numb and not expect anything from this team. And then you can only be surprised and happy.
Right. Yeah. There's no disappointments. I'm fine. In fact, is it weird to say I came out of the game optimistic? Not optimistic. I guess just more like, all right, well, so now I think we've eliminated some of the variance. That's all for this team. I think we've gone from this team could win no more games or all the rest of their games to 10-7 is their absolute ceiling this year. Probably 8-9 is their absolute floor. And it's, well, maybe not absolute floor. But 8-9 to 8-9, 9-8, it's the most likely outcome of all. And that's kind of what it's been looking like for weeks. The signs have all been pointing there when, they beat a good team, lose to a bad team, show up against a good team, but don't win, beat themselves against another good team. It's that season for the Broncos. And I guess what we have to dig into now is, does that playoff mandate that we all heard about from the beginning of the season, we don't have to dig into that now, but does that playoff mandate from George Payton ring true at the end of the season? Because that's what we're going to have to start thinking about in terms of our offseason. Are we starting over at head coach? I think we all know we're going to be doing something else at quarterback next season, or not. That I think that's kind of what there is to think about now, because it's not going to end up in a playoff season for the Broncos probably. So yeah, it just kind of go numb, enjoy watching the rookies the rest of the way. That's my philosophy.
Right. Jared, what does the magic calculator say there? The official Broncos playoff odds maker, chances calculator.
That's it.
It's official. The Broncos recognize it.
Do it
as their thing. So what are we at?
Not mathematically eliminated. That's
okay.
That's what I got on the calculator.
I was waiting for it.
I know.
I was actually waiting for you to pop up boobs.
I was thinking about that. I was doing too much of the pressing. I was too into the bit. Because I was. Is it 8?
It's 5
8
0 8.
Oh, it's 5.
Anyways,
Dan, your question here. If we lose to the Lions, look, we're still. It's not going to happen at this point. We're going to keep it for the rest of the year.
It's not going to happen.
And the same thing here, Chris, with your question. Lock, as long as we're not mathematically eliminated, there's no way that we're going to bench Teddy.
And
here's still the best of the three, but
Nice.
Yeah, here's the thing with the Lock crowd, and I get it, right? And there's a level of me that kind of wishes we had another option to throw somebody in, but Lock had his chances. Mm-hmm. And he threw them away himself. Like, as much as I was rooting for the guy, he's a Bronco, we drafted him, I really want him to succeed. He made his choice. He laid his bed. And I think as much as you guys want to, if you are a huge if you guys are a huge Lock supporter, you think Lock's going to be better and have all season, there's also a level of like, is this the hill you're going to die on? Right? Like, all the times that he's gone in, you can say, okay, he's not getting reps with the ones. Like, he's obviously not the guy. And it's unfortunate, which means in the offseason there's going to be a huge reset, whether it be right away or with just the offensive coordinator or the entire coaching staff. But we definitely, like David said, we know it's not going to be quarterbacks. Quarterbacks aren't going to be there, and not being the starters, I don't think. But definitely the coaching staff. I wouldn't be surprised to keep Fangio just because the defense is still playing very well with all the injuries, and hire just some random offensive coordinator to really run that offense better. But that's just more of the same that we've been seeing in the last 5 years, right? Yeah. We did the same thing with Joseph. Had a couple offensive coordinators under him, had a couple offensive coordinators under Fangio now, and I don't know. Well, it'll be interesting. But yeah, like one guarantee I can go there is Daniel is fire McMahon. Yeah, he's gone. Oh, yeah. That's one guarantee.
He's got tenure. You know what I can guarantee is this show just got infinitely better.
More Poncho.
What?
More Poncho.
Where did Poncho go?
She's gone. Ayla was here and then she's gone.
Wow, that was the worst timing.
Nice. That was perfect timing.
That huge intro for that. Oh, there she is.
Ayla,
there it is.
You just left me hanging out to dry there.
Absolutely hanging out.
That sucked.
That's perfect.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to always keep things interesting.
You did.
Done. Yeah.
I had to break up you guys looked so cute on quad screen that I was like, I've got to go take over this bologna sandwiches.
Look, there's a reason we created this, so that this setup right now is so that you could join us and make our show better.
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys are like spot on with everything because I was watching. So. Well,
of course, we're very smart.
And it's yeah, especially you, David. But no, I'm so into the not mathematically eliminated conversation. That is still one of my favorite things because it's true. It's true.
It's a thing.
We're not.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's one of those things that we put out, pregame podcast, we put a pregame show, like kind of like a gauge expectations and the fact that we're playing Kansas City, where it's like, look, there's a chance that we lose this game, but that doesn't mean that it's like the end of the world. This was not. I mean, and I hated that, and I said it again on the pregame a couple times. Like, this was not the most important game, Super Bowl 50. While this was a very important game for this season, and maybe the most important game for Fangio's career, because now it's going to be an uphill battle as opposed to an easier slide.
Yeah, it would have looked really good for the on-the-road win against them.
Absolutely.
And just like you guys said, like, we beat ourselves. It was just, they didn't show up either. We kind of were like, we're not going to do it, so here you go. I mean, Pat Mahomes' stats didn't say that he won the game.
No.
Like, get out of here. There was a few things that were like, and it was, I hated that their defense finally had to show up. Like,
yeah,
finally.
Was it their defense showing up, or was it our offense kind of just not figuring out how to get? So overall stats for the game.
I think their defense showed up a little bit better than they had all season.
Yes,
but we still beat ourselves. But they showed up a little bit better.
Their defense has been getting better the last few weeks.
They have, after their bye week, or now this is after their bye week, but like after the second half of their season's been really good. I just want to throw out a couple stats because I'm an analyst. 404 yards for us, 267 for them. We almost doubled their yards. Passing yards, 250 to 178 on it for us. 154 rushing yards that we had to their 89 rushing yards. Yards per play.
Williams had over 100 just by
Yep.
himself. Like,
Yards per play, thinking, well, we lost the game, right? So they have more yards per play. Wrong. 5.6 yards per play for the Broncos to their 4.9. First downs, they obviously have more first downs right now. No, wrong. 22 to 15. Fourth down efficiency, we went for the fourth down 6 times, which is crazy. And here's the big part there. Oh, penalty yards. They had 60 yards in penalties to our 37. So we got 60 yards just because of them screwing up. And then 1 fumble lost and 2 interceptions thrown. I think that was a big part of the whole deal. And not getting into the end zone on that time that we went for fourth down 3 times on one drive. That was, I think, the big momentum killer. But yeah, it's so frustrating to see these stats and being like, if you just don't look at the score and you see these stats, you're like, man, what a game. What a good game.
Here's the other one, and I shared this with all our chat earlier, but Denver became the 28th team this season to gain at least 400 yards, amass a total yardage advantage of over 100 yards, and have at least 7 more minutes of possession time than their opponent. The first 27 teams to do that this season won. The Broncos lost.
Yeah,
and there you have
pioneers, Kevin. That was my response.
We're pioneers.
Your text.
Pioneers.
And if you're gonna do something, be good at it. So.
well, if you're gonna lose really well. Like, we just lost a great game.
We lose so well. We're the best losers in the NFL by far.
I don't know. I think Detroit has that down a little better, but we're close. We're trying.
You can't even give us that, Kevin.
Let's find out
Kevin.
on Sunday.
Come on, man.
Yeah, we'll find out who's the better loser on Sunday.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, we'll find out.
This is it.
Yes.
This is the game.
Oh man.
But
I don't know. You said you were surprised about the fourth downs and going for it, but Vic Fangio at the beginning of the game was like, "We're gonna be aggressive." Like, he just straight up said they're gonna he's going for it today. He was ready to be gung ho, and he pretty much was for the most part. So I kind of wasn't surprised for it. I'm surprised we couldn't get it in the friggin' end zone. Was what surprised me.
Yeah, but Ayla, how much of that is being gung ho and going for it, and how much of that is desperation?
It's a mindset. Like, you gotta change, and we've had some good games with going for it on fourth down. So, do I think it's desperation? No, I think he really wanted to beat the Chiefs. I think he really
wanted to beat the Chiefs as well, but I think maybe not the whole team, but I think a lot of the team got in their own head before the first snap even happened.
I mean, they just didn't look like they did the week before with that same energy and sprightliness to them. They looked a little tired for whatever reason. And but let's be real. Like,
to start the game,
beside that stadium is probably one of the hardest ones to play in. Plus, it was cold. I mean, that ball was bouncing out of people's hands like it was, covered in butter on a hot day. Like, it was just slippery as fuck, and probably, Tom Brady wouldn't have liked it. Right, Rob. Were they gel? No, the ball was slippery. The ball didn't have gel on it. The ball had oil on it, but it was cold oil.
We talked about it.
There was some conditional issues, which I do bring up quite a bit. Like, weather and where you are plays a huge part of the game.
And it doesn't help that the Chiefs had 2 weeks to prepare for this game either.
Well, and we talked about it before the game. These games for the Broncos, so many of them have hinged on the bounce of a ball going one way or the other and completely changing the whole complexion of the game. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it happened again this time. The defense allows 15 points, but you've got the pick six, you've got the turnover on special teams that sets the Chiefs up deep in that red zone again. And it's just, forget about the Chiefs. Just against good NFL teams. If you had done that against the Chargers, we wouldn't have won that game either. Yeah. It's just that kind of thing. You can go down against a list of our opponents this season. If you do those things in a game against anybody, you're going to lose all but 3 of our games this season. It's so.
But they're, yeah. I mean, that's 100% true. But we're turning the corner on weather for this year, and they're going to need to factor that in for probably the rest of the year.
Sure.
I mean, maybe not in Vegas, but it is weirdly cold in Vegas, so we'll find out. You guys will get to feel it on your skin in real time. But like, that's part of football. I'm sure. I mean, you guys know from actually playing football, and I know from a couple other sports, but like the ball changes with the weather. And I'm sorry, cold balls hurt.
If you're gonna play in Denver, you gotta get used to that one. Sorry, I answered too quickly for you there, Jared.
I like everybody's face is going, and John's like, "Yeah, the Denver."
Yeah, John's super analytical. The rest of us are like, they do.
I need to take a pause after and just see if there's any reason to
I don't.
You do though, like your hands will sting, like.
But I mean, what? How bad was it? It wasn't. The temperature wasn't that cold.
They kept all the commentators kept talking about how cold it was there. I mean, we're not the chart multiple times.
No. It's not like we're the Chargers.
It wasn't like last night for Monday Night Football with snow flurries, but like.
The only people that have excuses at a professional level for that kind of stuff are the rookies. And maybe if they played it like USC or, but like North Carolina, okay, maybe Javonte Williams, the one guy that had a very good game, probably had an excuse, but he didn't. Yeah, I love it.
All of our rookies played well on Sunday, so
that's what it was. It's like, and I mean,
like,
obviously the Chiefs.
Everybody in their giant coats and stuff like that. I mean,
you're not wrong, Ayla. It was definitely cold. I don't think
my friend Karen was on the like 2 row of middle field, and she's a Chiefs fan, and her kid was so bundled up it wasn't even funny. Like fell asleep in like 4 blankets. Like everybody.
That's what happens when you're a Chiefs fan.
Well,
right. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, everybody says, all I'm saying.
We've had some tough cold games here too.
Cold, and maybe they just need to get used to it. Maybe that was a good game for getting used to, winter play. Like
maybe
make a change. It's December, and let's go.
I don't.
You know where else it gets cold?
Excuse here. I don't think it was the excuse.
In your basement, Kevin?
Well, yes, actually, it also gets cold in the UK, where we are going to give a special shout out to Paul Tuck, who is one of our UK followers and watchers. He is Team Visor. He said, make sure you tell everybody that I am Team Visor.
I saw the message.
I said, will do. I'll give you a shout out, man.
And in honor of him, I'm going to pour my Irish whiskey.
There you go.
Yeah,
I guess it's close enough.
Welcome.
I hope you're dreaming about us, Paul.
This is Scottish whiskey. Welcome, Paul. I do hope I can, at some point impress upon you the incorrect choice that you've made in headgear. But we'll get that. We'll get there someday. Team Huffball is much larger. Still,
David, is it about who's right and wrong, or is it about headgear at this point?
It's about both.
Okay.
You know what? It doesn't matter.
UK going with a visor over the puffball. That is interesting.
Right. Yeah.
I would think UK going with a puffball all day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what is a good decision? Doesn't matter what kind of headgear you like, whether it's puffball or visor.
Gambling.
Or, yes, actually, especially with this awesome DraftKings offer. So we all love action-packed, high-scoring NFL games, but with this latest no-brainer from DraftKings Sportsbook, you'll be a winner once a single point is scored. New customers who bet just $1 on any team to score can win $100 in free bets. It's really that simple. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still get in on the NFL action. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports Contest, and DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Now, here's what you all need to go do. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code TPPN. Bet $1 on any team to score and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code TPPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 years or older in a state that supports sports betting. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. So
Andrew brings up a good point here, and I want to bring this up. I'm honestly, I don't think any of us have watched the All 22 or the After. I have not, only because that was a rough game, and that's a tough one to go back and watch. But yeah, I don't know about how receivers get in separation. So that's the one thing, and I think this is important to mention when we're talking about quarterback play and the fact that Teddy kept checking down. Obviously, the reason that Javonte Williams had such a good game is because a lot of these balls were checked down to him, and he made the best with what he could and with when he got the ball when he got it. So I don't know about the receivers downfield, and that's something to look out for. I mean, we have three of the best, what I consider probably the three best top three wide receivers. If you were to combine everyone's top three wide receivers, I think our room is probably the best. We don't have the best wide receiver, but of the top three, we're doing pretty well. I'd be interested to see.
Put in number 4 with our tight end, and put him up against any matchup or any wide receiver duo. Four receivers, and we can't. Nah, sorry.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see, because that's basically what the rest of us are looking at. Like, how are you not getting the ball to these guys downfield and checking it down so many times when we have all this talent and firepower deep and in the intermediate? And I mean, you saw it too on the quick slant on the fourth down. I think it was the first or second fourth down with Trevor.
4th and 7. I remember because I was going to bring that play up too. Go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, so you're talking about a guy that's probably like 8 yards off. He's playing the fourth down line, and he threw a beautiful ball right inside. He got the ball, got up, and still got a couple more yards. Was that Cortland Sutton that caught that one? Mm-hmm. And like, why don't we do that more often when they're playing 8 yards off and you know that they're playing field position at this point? I just don't understand how, like, on fourth down, and it happened in the preseason too. We went for fourth in the preseason a lot. On fourth down, we can make those throws, but for some reason, we don't make those throws or make those decisions any other time.
Well, that was going to be kind of my point too. Is just because I feel like Andrew was right when we were watching them try to throw the ball downfield, whether they were in single coverage or not. Our receivers did not have much separation on go routes or on like a deep post route. I remember that almost disaster ball that Teddy got away with early.
Oh yeah, I called it the Drew Lock ball.
Right, and it did look like Sutton. It did look like Sutton was kind of stopped running the route at a certain point and then tried to start again.
Which is the only explanation that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Well, not just that, but you got to understand, the dude breaks for his guy. He's got a guy on his hip, and he's got the safety over the top. He should not be getting that ball.
Fair, yeah.
His job on that play is to pull the safety, and he did exactly what he was supposed to do.
So, and that's, you guys tell me. It felt like our short to intermediate passing game was just kind of non-existent. It felt like there was a lot of deep or intermediate deep throws dialed up or long developing routes dialed up, and there wasn't time on the front end or there wasn't an open guy on the back end. And it didn't feel like there was any of that kind of 5 to 7 yard easy gimme stuff, except like that one play, that 4th and 7, Jared, that slant to Sutton. It felt like it wasn't there all night, and maybe they weren't trying for it, and maybe they were trying for it, and it was covered up. But it felt like we didn't throw but 5 of those passes all night.
Well, David, to your point, like to prove that easily, our number 2 wide receiver was our running back by 1 yard.
Yeah.
He was almost our number 1. So he's not going out there getting those 8-9 yard catches. He's getting the 2-3 yard catches and taking it the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're 100% right. I don't know what the problem is there, because our 2 guys that we just gave extensions to, they were Cortland Sutton targeted 6 times with 2 catches, and Tim Patrick targeted 5 times with 1 catch.
We have the speed.
All of this? Maybe, I don't know.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think we have the speed to be able to get those long developing deep routes to the middle to intermediate routes. But why are we not running more of a West Coast style with these guys that we have, and Teddy Bridgewater not throwing it? If we could run a West Coast style quick strike, get the ball to the guys quicker than they can, and that way Teddy's not having to scramble. That way it takes pressure off the offensive line. If the run game was going the way that it was, which I think in that game specifically it was going well, you can get those quick strike options, because now they were more worried about the run game. I don't know. It just seems like it seems simple sitting on the couch. I get it. I do. And I understand from this point of view. But for me, it's like, and we talked about in the pregame podcast too, like they're known for not defending the quick stuff well. And that's why it's guys like, he only threw for 3 times, but that's not fair. But normally the Patriots or guys like Tom Brady do so well. They're not throwing deep 80-yard passes every time. They're throwing 3-yard slants and letting the receivers get yards after carry.
Yeah. And to me, I totally lost what I was about to say, so thank you, Jerry, for talking so freaking long.
Well, okay, but here I'll play devil's advocate a little bit. Even though we were out without Melvin Gordon, we've spent a lot of weeks talking about how we need to utilize our running game more. And then we start doing that, and now you guys are talking about. I know. I'm just saying. I'm sorry.
For the record,
I'm just gonna say that we brought it up a lot, and
absolutely
but we should use our receivers. Jerry Jeudy, despite the time away from the game this year, doesn't even have a touchdown yet, and he should. So yes, I mean I'm totally with you, but we have talked about it a lot how we need to use our running back. And we lose the running back, and then we use him, and now we're like, well, but use it. So, just saying.
No, it's not a one or the other. We have to understand this is not a one or the other. It's establishing the run game. The problem is that we did establish the run game, which is what we've been asking for all season. The problem is we didn't do anything with it.
Yes.
We had all these stats where we demolished. If you looked at these stat lines, we demolished the Kansas City Chiefs. We should have won this game 27-13. Based on the stat lines that I read, we had double the amount of yards.
Yeah, no,
almost double the amount of yards per play, and it was all because of that run game and what Javonte Williams was able to do. The problem is we couldn't put it in the end zone.
We couldn't put it in the end zone.
And because the play calls that were called,
like I'm with you 100%, but it's so hard right now as a fan. The frustrating part is the not winning and the no points on the board, because we can see that it just should be happening. And I don't know who it was today. You guys probably saw that headline pop up, like we are one quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender, which I completely agree with.
I don't believe that anymore. I believed that last year. I don't believe that anymore.
What?
I think we're an offensive coordinator away from being.
Yeah, you got to get it. I think that's true too.
Yeah, I know, but it's still hard, like from the fan point of view, and I'm Mrs. Optimistic. I'm always going to be there. I bring the hope. I might get sad, but like I'm still there backing Teddy up. And people after that game were still bashing Teddy. I mean, there's just like I can't jump on sounding boards these days on any social media because it just bugs the crap out of me that people bash him the most. And I think that he just has good and bad days. Like he has some really brilliant days, and then he has some days where I'm like, that was frustrating. But
it's the low hanging fruit. It's easy to say Teddy sucks and he's purely our problem. Look, on that one deep pass we threw, Teddy wasn't, I'll give credit where credit is due. Teddy threw that ball where it was supposed to be. He didn't make Sutton stop running in the middle of the route.
Right.
Disagree with you.
Coordinator Jared disagrees.
That was an awful read. But again, quarterback is one of those positions you make one bad decision, and it's like just like the offensive line, right? You could block your guy 99% of the time, but you allow one sack and you're the bad guy. Right. And it's the same thing with he got lucky that he did throw 2 interceptions, but he got lucky on that one that he didn't throw another one, because that was an awful decision making. Like that was just an awful. Like you had a single high safety. That's exactly where the ball was going. You basically threw it straight to him. Anyways, I do digress, but I do think Teddy Bridgewater could do something if he had somebody that was out there going for what Teddy Bridgewater is good at, and I think the short throws, the intermediate stuff is where his like talent is. His talent lies. I think he'd be much better in more of a West Coast offense, but that's just what it was.
I do remember my point from 10 minutes ago.
Good.
Backtrack.
It's because I was talking again. It was because I was talking again.
The sound of tears.
To be honest here, this was not a good game for Teddy. This was probably one of his worst games.
No, he looked off.
This was definitely not a good one. Like most of his stats that like kind of save him came in the fourth quarter when the game was basically over. But it comes down to play calling for me. Like if our running game is going, if it's doing as well as we are in this game, 102 yards from Javonte Williams, 4.4 yards a carry. Why are we then going to the shotgun every time we're going to go throw the ball? Why aren't we doing more play action? Why did we only, I think we did play action twice that game. Like, why aren't we playing complementary offense there when our run game is working? Because that's when you have to take advantage of it. And
so that should fall back on the play calling, So something that has been consistent, Shermer. Do they just get rid of Shermer after that? Like, is it that easy to just replace him? Like, is that what happens? Because I legitimately don't know.
Yeah. No,
that's something we talked about. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
He's putting his coaching career, as far as head coach goes, on the line here by keeping Shermer and sticking with McMahon for the last 3 years, honestly. And it's a loyalty issue, and that might be the thing that the reason why he loses his job.
I love
and I'll tell you right now,
I want us to
hold on. I have control here.
No,
I'm gonna
you don't. No, you don't.
Okay, so what the big part about the big off season about this is, like, I think the fact that he went for it on all those fourth downs proves that he thinks he has trust in Shermer, and with that trust in Shermer, I think he loses his job.
Oh God, I just thought he was like Mr. Confident, and I'm going gung ho. I mean, we were statistically wise ready to beat them. It's been a long time. So, but maybe at home, maybe it'll be the home game, by the end of the year. That'll be it.
Well, we still have a chance.
There is time. And that's why I'm kind of with David when he says he actually had optimism after this game. Like, going into this game, I had no hope that we were going to, I'll take that back. I did have some hope that maybe we'd make it competitive and this would be the time where we break that 11-game losing streak to the Chiefs. Yeah. But I expected a loss, let's be honest here.
For all intents and purposes, we should have.
Yeah. And that's what we said yesterday on the post-game show, is that this was the most winnable game, it felt like, since 2015 against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But
the boys are going into it now, and they've mentioned it on the social medias already. They have the mentality, and I don't know why it wasn't said before this, because it should have already been here, but they are like, now we're in playoff mode. We are basically already in playoffs. So that's the way they supposedly are talking about it from here on out, is every game.
Well, they have to.
As a playoff game. Well, of course they have to, but like, at least it was said out loud. Boobies. I know. I saw it.
Well, I think Boobless.
Is it Boobless? Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Boobless.
My bad. I was optimistic about it.
You sure it's 5? Does that look right? Anyway, it's
we'll say it was actually.
Yeah, that's what it ended up. But that's mathematically not eliminated right there. Thanks, Roger.
Yeah, or you could just have boobs with 5.
But Ayla, I do hear what you're saying, but
I didn't say it. They said it. They're saying it. I
know they are, but they always say the right things, and then they don't. It's like 50-50 whether they actually act on what they say.
Let them
build their mini snowball this weekend. Detroit. Let's do
it. So here's where I'm sitting. The Denver Broncos this year have done a very good job of getting my hopes up, then letting them down, and then bringing them back up, and then letting them back down. So I'm ready for them to bring them back up this week against Detroit. Now, if they let me down against Detroit, I
pattern.
I know.
We've never talked about this before.
There's a pattern of this. I also want to point out that on the pregame podcast, me and David had an in-depth discussion about this game.
The postgame podcast, now you got to bring up the pregame.
I do, because me and David may have made a bet on the pregame podcast, because he was very skeptical about this game, and rightfully, obviously, where I was very optimistic, saying that the Broncos figured it out after the bye week. And unfortunately, guys, for the temporary, I'm gonna have to
put it on. Put it on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That feels real good. That feels real good. How does it feel on your head?
It on my head it feels warm. In my soul it feels cold.
Yeah. That cracks. Yeah. Don't worry. If you leave it on your head long enough, it will warm. The radiant heat will warm the rest of you.
Down to the soul. Yeah. I also look super creepy with a beanie. This is another reason I wear visors.
I think you look better than you did earlier with the lights.
Okay. It kind of reminded me of like one of the Home Alone burglars.
Yeah. But I don't know.
It's a good question. I have no idea who this is, because
I think it's
It's winter, Jared. It's winter, Jared, and here he is.
Yeah,
unfortunately, it's still 65 degrees outside in the desert right now. It's still 65 outside. So
you do live in the hottest place on earth. Yeah. David, what was the bet for this? I will give it to you because it's your glory to describe. But was it the Broncos win, Chiefs lose? Was it
Jared doubled down on the Broncos winning.
Oh wow.
Yes, he did.
That's a
I really went with my heart and not my mind on that one.
And bless you for it.
Bless you for it.
Really, because you were braver than I was able to be, being dead inside that I am.
Yes,
Marcus, and thanks for coming in. Good to have you here. It's a headgear feud that has gone on since I joined Orange Weekly.
It started as for the record. This started as a simple we had different ideas on something. I don't remember what it was 5 years ago, and it started with we had different ideas on something, and now it's turned into which headgear's better. And I'm a visor man, and he's
they pit people against each other.
And we pit people against each other. Yes,
I don't know if they really agree with your football logistics, or they're.
That's what I'm saying. Is I'm pretty sure at this point it has nothing to do with our idea. Yeah,
I'm sure not. But I've got more members on my team than Jared has on his team, and that's all that's literally ever mattered to me about it.
Yeah, but Team Visor is international. Team Visor is international.
I suppose you've got me there.
Yeah, but he's sleeping, so it doesn't count.
So he watches this when he wakes up. That's pretty cool.
Actually, that's even cooler than joining in.
He went out of his way to message us, being like, "Hey, can't make it tonight, but make sure you let everybody know I'm Team Visor." That's what the message says. So I just want to make
respect his incorrect choice. That's fine.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom.
Aw. Hey, let's so really quickly before we move on, yes, so Orange Weekly Backstage will be on our YouTube channel right after this. I have not updated the URL yet. I'm sorry, I didn't get home until 30 minutes before this show.
You can do that at work.
Finally got the downloads.
We got 100, shout out, got over 100 subscribers. So
listen, I want to give a huge shout out to Brandon Perna. So Brandon Perna does kind of these live shows with Percy, I think his name is Green Bay Packers fan. They do kind of live night shows where they're just hilarious. They're great guys. Anyways, they rated us on our game on our halftime hash, and we got absolutely lots of comments on the YouTube page, lots of downloads. So absolutely thank you. If you guys aren't following Brandon Perna, he's absolutely hilarious. He was one of the guys when we first started Orange Weekly. We reached out to him and was like, "Hey man, what's going on? Can you help us out?" And he was so cool, helped us out. Super funny. Make sure you guys are following Brandon Perna.
He's super funny. He's super with it.
I feel like we don't have to name drop him that hard. I feel like everybody who's here has been hearing about Brandon Perna for a long time.
But
that's a good point.
I legit think he's funny. I think I would keep quiet.
Oh, he's so funny.
He's hysterical. Oh yeah.
Let me throw out there, being the one that jumped into this thing halfway through. Again, shout out to Brandon Perna. All the comments flooding in. I'm just jumping in. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And of course, this is the episode that Kevin's internet really decides to shit the bed. So it's just me and Jared talking, and Kevin coming in every once in a while, 5 seconds after what we were talking about before. And these guys are all posting everything, and it was a great look. Let's just put it that way.
Really good stuff, right?
Pills, this is not the place for that. So I'm just
I will say Kevin's internet has been perfect.
Hold on. For the record, intelligent people, yes. Having a conversation, yes. It didn't say an intelligent conversation. I appreciate that, Bills.
Then you know what? You got us. This is exactly what it is.
Well, and I'll tell you.
Anyway,
how do you not agree with more things, David, with this? I just feel like the puffball bouncing around. That's an after show thing. We'll continue.
An after show thing.
Right.
After show, Orange Weekly Backstage. Head on over to our YouTube channel. We'll be live there only, having these kind of goofy conversations, interacting with you all, having some drinks, having a good time. But with that being said, kind of leading us in to this next week, Detroit Lions 1-10 now. I mean,
well, here's the thing about the Lions too. They play hard absolutely every week.
Exactly.
It's one of those cliche things that you hear about teams, but it's never, you rarely ever hear about the Lions being blown out. They're always a tough out. They lose a lot of close games, and it's not, the Broncos. I know the Broncos players aren't looking at that 1-10 record and saying, that's a walkover. Yeah, no, they better not be, but I really don't think they are. But they've got to come out next week and play like it. I don't want them to win 17-14. Let's put it that way. Let's not have a Washington football team game where they have, they win the turnover battle by 1, but there's 4 total turnovers in the game, and they win by a field goal or something like that. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Well, and,
I mean,
and
we
honestly,
just
I think
give
that's
it, like,
exactly. I think that's exactly how this game's going to go. Because of the history with the Lions, I think that's 100% what's going to happen. I think this is going to be a close game. I think we're going to win it out. And honestly, for me, this is a big judgment on the coaching staff. Does the coaching staff have what it takes? Because the Detroit Lions are really is this the first year with that head coach or is it the second year?
First year.
Yeah. So that coaching staff really has.
Bite the knees? You don't remember Bite the Knees, Jared?
Bite the knees.
Yeah, I don't know Bite the Knees. Yeah, I just remember the beard, the old DC for New England, and I know he got fired. I just don't remember when. The Detroit Lions head coach was the New England DC.
Yes, yeah, Matt Patricia. I know who you're talking about.
Matt Patricia, that's his name. Yeah. So, anyways, So, I think the big part about this is like who's going to coach better. Both teams have talented rosters. Don't get me wrong. Like Detroit may have only 1 win, but they have very, very talented rosters. Which team coaches better? That's the team that's going to win this game.
Well, and they're coming off their first win, so they're going to be a little hyped. But they are coming to Denver, so good luck with
that. Helps too.
This is a must-win because of the level of competition.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't lose to a 1-win team and still be in the playoff conversation.
8.5 point favorites.
Well, we'll figure it out mathematically, John.
Yeah,
that's true. Technically, we could probably still make the playoffs.
Like if everybody else in our division loses, maybe we'll see.
Okay, yes, Ayla, there is that the whole calculator conversation. I'm just saying, like, morally.
No, I mean we would drop on rating, like power ratings or whatever. But
I'm not worried about power. I'm just saying you can't expect to be in these games with these other teams if you're going to lose the line.
Yeah, I guess.
And David,
because they're definitely not going to the playoffs. We'll say they're already mathematically eliminated. We can say that.
In my head, they are if they lose to the Lions. And
this is an interesting point.
You don't want it to be close. I get it. You want it to be a blowout for the Broncos.
Right now, I'm just more focused on whether you just said morally or orally. And
I said morally. I meant to say
David, backstage stuff. Backstage. Hold that.
No, you're right. We'll get more into that backstage, guys.
Hold that in like a big pen.
What's that? Nothing's happening. Kevin, what's up? You feeling okay?
The Lions have a better quarterback, and I will say this: did you guys watch?
I do not agree. I'm not a Jared
Did you guys watch that drive against Minnesota?
I'm not a Jared Goff guy either.
I will not lie to you, Jared.
I
did not watch the Lions versus the Vikings highlights.
I watched that last drive because I think I was watching the red zone, so it kind of came up as like oh my gosh, they could win this thing. Mm-hmm. His drive against the Lions. Or against the Vikings, I would not trust Teddy to make that full drive and throw that touchdown. Yeah, that's just me. But in a close game, if we're in a close game, it'll be scary for us if we're on defense.
I will one up you. Do you remember the playoffs against the Steelers when Tim Tebow threw an amazing dime pass to Demaryius Thomas? Everyone has their drives. If you want Tebow over Goff, I'll take that as well.
Right. I mean, that's
touche. Touche.
How many times a season, seriously, do you think Jared Goff makes that drive? Like, if you put him in that situation in 17 games out of the season, how many times do you get that?
Yeah, he had a minute and 17 seconds left. It was well put together.
I think the game changer has to come from the start of the game. I don't think we can start slow and expect to win. I mean, we just have to change that part of our game. We have to find a way to score on our drive, on the starting drive. This is getting ridiculous at this point and embarrassing. We have to start better. We can't always come from behind. We have to score in the first quarter. We need a touchdown in the fourth quarter, period. At least one.
I agree, but this is week 12, and we haven't seen it except for 1 or 2 games.
Okay, but this would be a great time to start for it.
It would be an amazing time to start. I hope it happens. Don't get me wrong.
And I hope somebody from the Broncos staff is watching and taking notes, and they play that in their highlights.
Oh, they're watching. They're for sure watching.
They have to watch. This is the only way they're getting the game.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I go on my long-winded rants, and John's forgetting his stuff, and that's what they're listening to. That's why I make sure I do those rants.
Well, it was actually I gave blame to you, but it was really a combination of you and David, so I'll take that back a little bit.
Fair enough.
That's why we do so well in the pregame.
So well.
Yeah. So Andrew, this is a good point. You know what? I never really thought about this, but we got to talk about like there was a level of why are we not doing kind of a hurry up?
Mm-hmm.
Like what? Why not? At least, especially you've noticed it. Well, have you noticed it? Especially in times where we have to not catch up, but like we're in like 5 minute, down and 5 minutes left in the game. We're down by 2 scores. Like why not run a no huddle and a hurry up offense? We haven't seen that this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it goes back to mentality, and it seems like that at that point that they've already reserved themselves to losing this game. Honestly, that's how it feels to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It may be so.
It's not good.
Not good.
Not
No.
good.
No.
I just think that when you haven't been doing it at all, like, why would they start doing it now? Like,
I don't know, but you gotta try.
There would have to be like a major change. Yeah, of course, and hopefully they're seeing this too. So like, score in the first quarter and start doing some hurry up. Like, come on,
they
go.
won't.
Yeah,
they won't.
Yeah, and it wasn't just this game. It's been games in the past where sometimes we're only down by 1 score, and you still see like this slow moving. Like, yeah, it's interesting.
And usually
that goes to leadership for me.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's coaching, whether it's players, whatever.
Clock management has definitely been an issue for the year, regardless of what is happening. If it's timeouts being used or anything like that, it seems like that comes up quite often in our topic of conversations.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm personally feeling good about this game, but
are you going, Kev?
Of course I am.
Okay. I don't know. Of course,
Kevin will be the last person in the stadium.
So that means I need as much help on the pregame. Anybody wants to join the pregame?
Are you going to be taunting the Lions when they're on the field with like really ineffectual growls?
Yes.
Not like more like
go, baby, go.
Here comes the Lions.
One more time. There it is.
I'm scary.
This is what we've got to during this point of the season. This is where we're at.
Oh my God.
Right.
Hey, if you guys didn't see, the YouTube URL has been updated. It is now not a bunch of random letters and numbers.
You did it!
I did it. Guys, I did it. So now it's
taking
easy
you 5
to find.
minutes that you couldn't have taken away from work.
Right.
I know, seriously.
Oh, my name is Kevin. I do work at work.
I do work at work. And I just said do. This is what you get in the backstage show.
I do work at work.
Ayla just said it too. But
I was
make sure.
repeating you, Stu.
It doesn't matter. You still said it.
Here.
You said it.
Adding
too.
that to the list of T-shirts.
In Kevin's defense, you
I
did
do
say it.
work.
You just had a little tone difference.
Ah, yes. Everyone, make sure you check out the pregame podcast. They're going to be breaking down the upcoming game against the Lions in a whole lot more depth, looking up the breaking it literally down, breaking it down.
I sprinkled it.
You know, and then the pregame podcast, we put it together up. We fix it up.
Fix it up. There you go. Okay, put it together up was bad.
That was bad. I had no idea it was a word. But you guys want to make sure you check out those podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you listen to your podcasts, we are there. The postgame podcast is also live on our YouTube channel. That happens Monday nights, usually right around 7 p.m. So if you guys want to join us live for the postgame podcast, you guys can join that there. But otherwise, like I said, listen to it wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, don't forget Monday Night Orange Weekly After Dark, right after Monday Night Football. And then this show starts Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, every Tuesday night for 6 years now. It's probably going to be another 60 years is my goal. So
Which is so sad to think I'm going to be looking at your face for the next 60 years.
Oh,
Yeah, you know what?
You are not getting rid of me. So that's for sure.
I should have considered that when I agreed to this.
Don't forget about the pregame tailgate talk. Starts about an hour before kickoff. And then our halftime hash show will be live as soon as halftime starts. So as you're grabbing those snacks, getting up, stretching, taking your break from yelling at the TV, join us and then post whatever thoughts you have about the first half of the Broncos game. Let's go around the room and kind of just share any last closing thoughts. John, we'll start with you, man.
Yeah, no, this week it's a must win. Again, I go back to the level of competition. We gotta win this week. I hope it's a blowout. I'll take the win over anything. If it's by 1 point, that's better than nothing. I want to be a blowout as well, but it's got to be a win if we're going to stay in the playoff conversation. I know that seems way out of, there's no way that's going to happen, but you never know. It's the NFL. If we go on some sort of tear, if the momentum swings our way, we talked about it, 1 or 2 plays a game, and it's a totally different game. So, it's got to happen this week. It's got to be a win at the bare minimum.
You need wins like this week because you want, when you're trying to lure a veteran quarterback here in the offseason, you want to be able to say, look how many games we won with, the quarterback play and the coaching that we had. And from there, you can build a case for, this is our roster. This is what we're capable of with somebody like you at the helm, et cetera, et cetera. So it feels like these games are not meaningful wins if you're not trying to, build toward a playoff appearance. And, there's even an argument to be made
which
to
we
lose.
could still be.
Sure. Not mathematically eliminated in any way. And you could make an argument for losing these games because they're boobs. Because, then you get a higher draft pick, right? But there is then these wins are not meaningless even if they don't culminate in a playoff appearance.
Sure. I'm never a fan of losing on purpose for a better draft position.
And
absolutely
doesn't
not
happen in pro sports. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the same thing with where was the energy last year when we probably could have had a top 10 pick, but we won the game and everyone was happy. I'm never ever a fan in competitive sports, specifically at the professional level when they're getting paid for it, to lose on purpose.
And the other thing with Peyton or with George Payton running the show, we can move up in drafts. It's not like you're stuck with your position. Yes, it's harder when you're farther from the number 1 pick, but it is still possible. You pretty much have to mortgage the
Well,
future.
and a mediocre pick in the first round draft, it's still going to be a good pick regardless. Just because you get the first pick of everything doesn't
as long
mean
as you do
you're
it right.
necessarily getting the best player ever.
Right.
I mean,
as long as you do it right.
And I've always been a fan of this draft class, and I always will be a fan of this draft class, and maybe we're overstating it because of the, draft classes we've had, the 5 years before, but, I mean, we have draft capital in the second round.
pretty good.
With the Von Miller trade, we have a couple extra picks in the
Third
second
round,
and
we
third
have
round.
2 picks as well.
Yeah, so we're talking about, we may not have all the first round picks, and mostly in the first round, it's the same team. There's a lot of teams in the first round this next draft class that has double picks in a row. So, I'm super excited about this. I think George Payton really has it going on, and is figuring it out and is building his team the way he has. Also, in Death Valley, it's a little warm here, so I'm sorry, David, I can't.
Put that back on. We're almost done.
It's a little bit.
It's all game or all show?
No, it's just on the show. I just had to wear it on the show.
Not for the whole show.
David.
To
Yeah,
show
and he's lucky I wore it.
that he was right.
David,
He's-
I love David more than anything on this one.
Yeah, he's lucky I wore it as long as I did. He wasn't as confident. Neither one of us were confident in the bet. However, for this game, for this Detroit game, I think it's we have to win this game, and we keep talking about it. And I think Ayla, you said it. We're in playoff mode. We cannot lose another game going on out. And if we lose 1 or 2, it might not be the end of the world, but it's going to be a much harder uphill battle to make the playoffs going forward. And with the Detroit Lions, Detroit, Cincinnati, right? I think is coming up, and then, AFC West teams.
And then we end with all
So we have to finish the AFC West. We're 1 and 2 in the AFC West right now, or is it 2 and 1 because we beat the Chargers?
No, we're 1 and 2.
We're 1 and 2.
two.
We're 1 and 2.
Yeah,
Oh, because we lost to the Raiders, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're 1 and 2 in the AFC
and we
West.
have 2 away games for them.
Yeah, so it's gonna be an uphill battle. And that's why this
But
game
playing
was
in
so
LA
important.
should be kind of fun, and you guys will be at the Las Vegas game, so maybe that'll
We will be.
some good juju
give a little
there.
We are undefeated games I go to. So
True.
yeah.
So can you drive to LA the week after that.
I might try that. I don't know if my wife will be a super fan of that one, but I'll try.
But your luck has been in every game that you've been to as well, Jared.
That is true for this season. But I'm talking about any game I've ever been to, any Bronco game I've ever been to.
I can say that.
Thank you, Mom.
And then we have a home game. We could have our redemption game for
the
end of the regulation season. I'm going to call it because it could not. It could be there could be more games after that. So I'll just say regulation games. So
how crazy would it be a home game in Denver against the Chiefs to make the playoffs?
Yeah. That would be amazing.
Not only to make the playoffs, but look, the Chiefs are only one game back from being the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
So this could very well be a ruin their number 1 seed game.
I mean,
as well. There could be a lot on the line for both teams.
It's not over yet. So anybody.
This is a much different conversation than we were having.
That's okay. That's okay. We're projecting out because we're in playoff mode now.
No, I'm just saying when we had that 4-game losing streak, it was like, well, the season's over. We're firing the head coach. That game against the Chargers really put it as a, which Broncos are we going to get? And maybe we do have a chance to pick.
Yeah, it depends week to week, but hopefully their mentality is on the shift. And we'll just, we'll start this snowball again for this weekend. A win against Detroit would be great for everybody. We deserve it. We are the better team. And so it absolutely is a must win. I'm totally on board with John. Would love a blowout, but I'll take a 1-point win. I don't care. We have to win.
Win is all that matters.
I'm not taking the points this week on Ragers. If you follow Ragers, I'm not taking the points this week.
Now? Where are we at right now?
8.5.
I just don't bet on. I don't bet on things that I can play in. So
optimism, baby.
Yeah, I'll take the money line, but I won't. I'll take the. I'll give you $30. You give me 10. Like I'll take that, but not the 8.5.
David, did you share any closing thoughts or anything else to add, man?
Yeah, no, I shared mine.
Okay, just making sure. I just want to make sure. Ayla, you good?
Oh, I am so good.
Awesome. Okay,
and we got more talk in the backstage. So
make sure you come over to the backstage.
In the backstage,
I know we called out Paul Tuck specifically, but I do want to say that to all of our viewers, even though I can't call you out all by name because there's too many of you, do really appreciate all of you tuning in and watching. Yeah, you're why we do this. We do this.
Are you not taking notes through the episode of all the people that are commenting?
My handwriting is just
so
too
much
messy.
more fun because of you guys.
Oh, for sure.
Like all the comments and everything, everybody's so Broncos smart. Oh, and the jive talkers, like that's fun too. Like come on here and come talk some shit to us. Like I love it.
I'm waiting for Reno to come in and just talk shit.
We accept it. We'll respond.
Yeah. So, but anyway, let's look. Still 5 games left. There's still football going on. Love it, and it's can't be happier right now. To be honest with you,
I mean, we could be. We could have just won.
Could be happy.
Shut up. This is my
be happy.
I put myself in a good spot.
Dying right now.
I put myself
on
in
the
a good
downhill
spot.
right now.
So okay. Anyway, we will end it there as we go to the backstage, and you guys can join us over there. For
the backstage is gonna be hopping.
It's gonna be hopping.
Yeah, we've been drinking. This is great.
Okay, let's end it on a very strong.
Go Broncos!
Take care, everyone.
That's empty.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know I'm a pro.